Guys, well, that was Bob live at Shaw's Tavern. That was a great, just kind of went around the whole restaurant, talked to some people, and like he did mention, Donald J. Trump Jr., that's his handle, was tweeting during the testimony. We pulled some of those tweets. I'm going to try to show you those in a bit, but we have a lot going on. I want to take a quick time message here to tease what's coming up later. We have a very special guest in studio today. His name is Aaron Brehove, and he is a body language analyst and consultant. He'll be chatting with us here in studio. He's been watching this testimony the whole time, gathering some information about James Comey's reactions, his body language, his facial expressions, and various movements that he's been making, and frankly, analyzing them. And he'll have more on that for you guys when we come back after that vote, because I do want to get back to it. I know they're going to start promptly, so I want to make sure we get there on time. So I'm going to set up everything, guys. Stay with us if you're on with us on YouTube or Facebook. We're going to keep this rolling. They come back around 1 o'clock. We're going to go back into the hearing room. And I want to bring you this too. Right now, President Trump is actually speaking. He's speaking at a Faith and Freedom Coalition at the Omni-Shoreham Hotel here in Washington, D.C., in Northwest Washington, not too far from where we are here in Northwest Washington, D.C. So I'm actually going to bring you over there briefly. We'll hear what he has to say just for a moment before we come back in to the Senate chambers for the remainder of this hearing. And then be sure to stay on with us, guys. We have Aaron in studio. He's going to give us his extra expertise on body language, on some of the emotions that James Comey was showing at the beginning of the testimony into the first hour, into the second hour. We've been watching intently. We have a lot of notes to share with you guys. So now over to President Trump. He's speaking live. We're going to cut back in to the hearing when we have that back on. Thanks for joining us, guys.
We all salute the same great American flag. And we are all made by the same Almighty God. We face many challenges. There are many hills and mountains to climb. But one by one, we will scale those summits and we will get the job done and get the job done correctly. We will prove worthy of this very, very important moment in history. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail. And as long as our country remains true to its values, loyal to its citizens, and devoted to its Creator, then our best days are yet to come. Because we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you, everybody.
So it looks like we caught the tail end of this here in Washington, D.C. I was hoping we could kind of hear what President Trump has to say, all going on concurrently with James Comey's testimony in the Senate chambers. This has been a very exciting day. James Comey in the spotlight for a very highly anticipated testimony here in Washington, D.C. One of the most highly anticipated in really years and decades is what people are saying. We're going to keep an eye on that room, that hearing room, because we are going right back in there when they get the cameras back in there, when they're done with their break. But I'm going to bring it back into the Washington, D.C. studio. We're here in the digital newsroom. If you're following along on YouTube or Facebook, please do comment below. Let me know what you think of everything and any of your thoughts throughout this testimony. We got Aaron in studio, and I'm so happy to have him here. Aaron is, like I mentioned, we're going to have him on, and we'll keep an eye on the hearing room, the chambers in the Senate. But Aaron, you are really interesting, have an interesting role. You're a senior instructor at the Body Language Institute in the DC metro area and an advisor at Smirky.com. Tell me what Smirky.com is.
Smirky is it's a company of Cato Solutions, and what they do is emotional recognition, facial emotional recognition, and it's brought to your phone. It's the first technology, first software that can use your phone to actually do a video chat and find the emotion in real time.
So cool. So you can actually use this app to sort of register a face, sort of like you would with a Snapchat filter or an Instagram filter, register your face and detect emotion. Is that right?
Exactly.
Wow. So, okay. So we're going to talk a little bit. We're getting an announcement here. We're getting the hearing back shortly. But let's talk, Aaron, about, I guess, you have experience following James Comey and some of his hearings, some of his law, sort of courtroom stuff, trials. What do you know about him? Tell me a little brief history about him before we analyze his emotions.
So for anybody else that's watched his history, we've all seen it's kind of been fascinating today. He's this stone cold guy that he started out his career prosecuting the Gambino crime family. That was one of his first cases.
So interesting.
So he's been in the hot seat for a long time. He's a pro at this, testifying, being in really stressful, high intensity situations. Started out with Gibson Dunn, a top tier law firm as well, and he's every other testimony he's given. You can watch it throughout the years. He's always fact based, very even keeled, and today was something totally different. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
He was actually talking about emotion. He said he gave his opinion a great deal, and it was much less fact-based than he typically is, and it was fascinating to see it, and I think that's because he's left his position and no longer has that onus.
Exactly.
And it's
yeah, if you guys noticed that too, let me know. I definitely had noticed that multiple times. Did he say, I don't work for the government anymore. I'm removed from this. So that was interesting. Yeah, continue about his motion.
And he started out, it was really nice. He gave great credit to the FBI and his honesty too. He said he was cowardly. He said he wished he was a better person.
Yeah.
I forget the words he used, but
yep.
So he said cowardly, and I would have expected to see some emotion there register when he said cowardly and when he said these kind of negative things, really honest points about himself. But you didn't see it because he owned it. He was really owning up to what he'd done wrong. He understood it, and he was happy to go forward with it. He was happy to say, I made a mistake, now let's move on from that.
Yeah. So when he first started out, and we watched from the very get-go, from the very beginning, all eyes were on Comey. He came in and you described him as stone cold. Isn't that what you said to me?
Exactly.
Right when he came in. Yeah.
He's a stone cold presenter, and when he speaks and when he does his testimony, stone cold. There's so little emotion.
Right.
He actually, you can see a little bit of surprise and a little bit of joy sometimes when he leans in. When he's speaking about a fact, he gets a question that he really knows the answer to. He'll lean in. You see his brow come up a little bit, and it's fascinating. I think he gets excited by it. I think he's a little bit happy. He enjoys it, and he's ready for the challenge.
So the brow raise is something that's significant. What are some other small motions or small movements that pretty much you can detect because you're an expert on this, that people make to sort of change gears a little bit, change their emotions? Like you mentioned the brow. He shrugged a couple times.
He did, and it was interesting to see when he was shrugging. You look for congruencies in when you speak. So you want to see their emotions tie into what they're saying. So he was shrugging when he was saying he didn't know. So he said, I don't know a lot today. And he would shrug when he said that. But he also said, with the why he was fired, and he said, well, I was fired because of the Russian investigation. He said, yes, I was fired. So he's not really sure if he was, but he does believe it. We think he believes it. So he's a little bit unsure about that. So that's the only lack of congruency there. He's not really sure why he was fired, but I think he is on the side of the Russian investigation.
And do those little movements, like that little shrug, that little sort of jostling of his body, does that indicate a little bit more of an openness? Did he open up from his stone cold nature at the beginning?
Absolutely. So much different than he's been historically.
Yeah.
So much more open. He's very, very conscious when he answered any of the senators, looking at him, and there was a few pauses. I think he actually got a little bit of the dig by Senator McCain. I think that stuck him a little bit.
Really?
And there was a pause. You don't normally see him pause and have to take a minute to compose himself, and he did after Senator McCain kind of took a jab at him.
Wow, that's so interesting. I know there was a moment, if you guys caught it too, he joked about wanting to be out on a date with his wife and loving his wife, and he made a few kind of more personal, emotional statements. I thought that he connected back, and I definitely noticed that he was loosened up from the beginning. What did that indicate to you? Just kind of him like bantering a little bit with the senators, was it?
He's no longer in the FBI, so I think for the first time in his life, he's able to kind of have have this kind of banter with him in a public setting where you watch all his other testimony. He doesn't make jokes like this. He's not laughing. He's not joking. He's not opening up because he can't. He shouldn't. He should be very fact based. He was still very even keeled, especially when the Republican senators were questioning him, and there was some of the harder questions. He kind of turned back and he got a little bit more stone cold again.
Yep.
And then when the Democrats there was a little bit more joke and a little more banter there, he opened up so much. You can see the person that's behind this stone cold face that you've seen for years.
Yeah, definitely. So the time has sort of helped throughout this testimony. Now, coming back, what do we expect to see? Sort of similar in openness. Is that right? A little more casual.
Yeah, I would expect to see, unless he takes another position with the FBI, which I wouldn't expect, or another position with the government, I think we're going to see this kind of more personable person, because he has a personality. He wants to share it. Everybody wants to be heard, so he finally can share that part of himself. So I think we'll see a little bit more of that. And when he does get those hard questions, watch him when he leans in and he raises his brow a little bit. You'll see that he's so engaged, and he's so excited to be able to bring the facts to the case.
I am so excited to have Aaron in here because it's not every day that you get to talk to an expert on this topic. He has such an interesting background, including his work with this website, smirky.com. I want to show you a couple really interesting pictures before we go back in. I'm checking my feeds here. We're not back yet. So what I'm going to do is pull up some really cool pictures that we got ingested from this app that sort of analyzes the emotion of James Comey in a few different moments while he was on screen. So we grabbed the screen grab. In fact, can I show the app into the camera? I want to show you guys what this looks like. So you can kind of see as it registers a face and then registers or analyzes the emotion and the percentage. And Aaron can kind of give more of an example if you put it on selfie mode.
Yep, right on selfie mode.
Yeah, cool. So if you guys can kind of see this. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of hard to see, but this is neat. And I know the light is tricky, but it registers a face, and that's what it looks like. Let me show you the pictures that we gleaned from this. I'm going to bring it full screen here. All right, take a look at this one. This is the first one. And let's talk about it.
And the fascinating thing about this is you get the real-time feedback instantly when you're using this app. So it's fun, especially with Comey. Not much emotion there. I got a bunch of screen grabs.
Yeah.
And a bunch of those were emotionless because this guy is stone cold.
Totally.
But he's fascinating today with his lean in, with his jokes. So we saw a lot more emotion out of him, and we're able to get a lot better picks. But it's when you have somebody like Donald Trump speaking, he's so exaggerating his emotions. You can see,
right.
You don't need anything to help you out. You see it. It's pretty blatant. It's pretty apparent. But with Comey, seeing the smallest difference and seeing a change from, no emotion all day, and then to see that uptick of anger or to see the uptick of surprise or joy, that's when it gets really interesting. And you can see that with Comey right here.
Yeah, let's go to the next one. I mean, we have a few. There's another one. A little less this percentage, 48% anger is what it says, that cold look.
Right, and you're not going to get much out of him. You're not going to hit 100% on any emotions out of Comey. Although today there was a few, he laughed a couple times.
He did. And so what emotion would that register
as?
That
would be joy.
It would be joy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple more here. Another, that was this one was taken as stone cold. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It actually read, there's 43 facial muscles that it's actually reading when every 25th of a second, I believe.
Whoa.
So every 25th of a second, it's taking a capture, and you can see exactly what those facial muscles are doing.
Is that a hard number that we have 43 facial muscles that show expression?
It's 43, and there's different action
cool.
units, and then facial expressions that underlie the emotions.
Yes, so I love the connectivity between this, between sort of emotions and mental awareness and health with the physical look. And I don't know if you guys knew that, but there are 43 muscles that indicate or that help kind of discern emotion in our face. Let's go to the next one. Another one. Oh, we had this one. Let me come back in the studio really quick. And I'm going to go to this other one that we had. I want to find you this one because it was a little bit different. Here we go. Check it out.
This surprise. He's
okay.
It says surprise, and this is his kind of lean in. This is when he gets a little bit excited. His brow comes up a little bit, and there's a little bit of surprise here. But I think this is kind of his baseline of being excited. He raised his eyes, and it's his openness that you feel when he's giving a fact-based answer, and he leans in and he gets excited when somebody's like, "All right, is there a fact I can tie into here?"
Yes.
And then as soon as he does, he gets excited. He's on stage. This is what he does.
Yeah.
And you see this look of what is registering as surprise.
Fascinating. What a really cool way for you guys, you work in this, for you to use this to analyze James Comey today. Those are the 4 screen grabs that we got. Now, we didn't get any where he was quickly laughing or anything that was kind of too fast, but we were able to grab these and transfer them over. And I thought that was pretty interesting to analyze. Aaron, this has been really interesting. So you're going to stick around, right? We're going to kind of watch as this kind of unfolds, continues to unfold. I'm going to check back in to see if the president is tweeting. Guys, what do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Please feel free to engage with us. I'm going to try to read some of them, but I know there's a lot streaming in. We are live right now on YouTube and Facebook. You can check us out on this stream, and we're going to kind of keep this going because we want to jump right back in to that hearing room, which I don't see up yet. We have a live shot right now of the National Press Club. Inside of that, that's what it looks like there. Has not started yet, but I'm going to keep an eye and kind of go from there. But let me show you quickly too, reversing time a little bit. We didn't get to show this earlier in the show because we jumped right in to the coverage. We wanted to get that live hit from Bob, who was over at Union Pub this morning. Now, they must be pretty disappointed that the president has not tweeted yet. Those tweets have not rolled in. They did not get a free round on the House, but we'll see what happens. So Bob was earlier outside of the Hart Senate office building, and he was talking with some people that had come to basically camp out for this event. They were in line, and there was a line that went around the corner, and he got to interview a couple people there, and they were talking about why they were there today. Let's check that out.
Illinois?
Yes, I got in last night.
Why? You could watch it on TV or online. Why did you want to be here in person?
Because I want to be part of it. There's something about being there, participating in history. I remember when the Watergate hearings were going on, and I was just a kid in high school, and I had the opportunity, I had the money, I decided to hop on a plane and come down and watch it.
Why? You said you spent the night here, and what was the interesting thing you learned about what you can and cannot do here?
You cannot spend the night on Capitol grounds. You'll be surrounded by many Capitol bullies.
What's that?
You can't sleep here on Capitol grounds. We were sleeping here, about where you're standing, and we woke up when all the Capitol police kind of surrounded us and good morning! You cannot sleep here.
You can sit down, but you can't close your eyes?
Yeah, don't close your eyes. Don't lose consciousness.
And why? Why did you want to be here as opposed to watch it on TV or online?
Oh, we heard this is going to be bigger than, one of the biggest things since Watergate, and we want to be a part of it.
All right.
And here's just some footage of James Comey himself. We had some video coming in that we wanted to bring together, but that was really, really cool to see why some people gathered for this event. It's an event to them. They're saying it's bigger than Watergate. We definitely took it the same way. This is all eyes on Comey today. This is his day. Comey Day is the hashtag that people are using, and Comey testimony as well. So we're going to bring it back into the newsroom now. We're still here with Aaron Brehove. He's a body language analyst and consultant. If you weren't here with us earlier, I thought one of the most interesting facts, and so did intern Cam over here, that Aaron mentioned, was that one of Comey's biggest things, one of his first investigations, was the bringing down of the Gambino crime family.
Exactly, and he started out with Gibson Dunn, and then he moved on to public service right after working with Gibson Dunn. And one of his first cases was at his first job. He worked in the Gambino crime family and taking down John Gotti.
So cool. It's so interesting. I actually didn't know these facts. So
yeah, talk about being afraid or being needing to be stone cold. I think if you're working with a crime family and the mafia in the 80s, you probably need to be a little bit guarded in your emotions. And he definitely is a little bit guarded. And although we saw today a different person and somebody was laughing, joking, had some banter, so you wonder how much this was really how much he get this outside of the testimony. He's been ready for this type of thing his entire life. He's been a prosecutor for years and a trained lawyer now with the FBI, or then with the FBI.
Yeah, so you would say this, even though he kind of entered stone cold, he's been trained for this. He wasn't surprised going in. This was a normal day for him.
Yeah, I think he's comfortable sitting up there. If anybody can sit up and do congressional testimony for 3 hours, it's him. I think the last testimony he gave, they asked him if he needs to take a break, and he's like, "No, I'll go all day. I'll keep on going." He's ready for this. This is his stage. He's a performer, and this is his stage.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Really cool guy. Aaron, tell me a little bit about how you got into this whole side of things. I mean, body language analysis is an interesting kind of topic. It's great to have you in studio for this particular event, of course. So tell me a little about your background.
So I'm a fraud investigator by trade. I worked with an accounting firm for about 8 years, doing fraud investigations, and utilizing nonverbal cues is key to getting confessions and to getting people to tell us the truth. Sometimes I teach about deception, but really I'm teaching about how to make a connection, a deeper connection, quicker. It's just about being more efficient, and people want to tell their story, and sometimes they do that with the words, other times they do it with their emotions, and understanding those emotions and understanding how to interact just helps an investigation flow better. So that's kind of how I veered off into nonverbal communication and then micro-expression training.
Do you feel like throughout this testimony you've been sort of like seeing things, taking little notes on James Comey's emotions and whatnot? Anything else to share from that to glean?
So I was looking for the word that he used. He said he wished he could be stronger.
Yeah.
And to see him say, "I wish I could be stronger," and it was a little bit cowardly what he did. It's invigorating. It's refreshing to hear somebody own up to something that they did that they believe is wrong and not be embarrassed about it. He didn't seem to be embarrassed. He didn't seem to take it to heart. He said, "You know what? I did something wrong, and now let's move on." If everybody could do exactly what he did in that situation, we'd all be much better off in life, and it's easier to function when you're honest. And when you own up to it, he's completely honest. He said it was cowardly. "I wish I could be a better man. I don't know if I would be, but I wish I could be I wish I could be stronger," he said. So I couldn't believe he said that. I was a little astonished, and it's the other thing is when his congruency with everything he said. He's so honest. He was just a day of honesty. I feel like it was wild to hear him question after question, other than the "I don't knows" for the span of time, or the not being able to talk about things that were classified. He was completely forthcoming with everything he had to say. He didn't seem like he was holding back anything. You saw him when he's trying to remember specific visual cues. You saw him looking up into his left, and that's typically when he's recalling a fact, he's looking to the left. So if it's up, it's visual. So when he's recalling a visual cue, he was looking up and to the left, trying to remember a dinner he had with President Trump.
Right, and so say that again. Looking up to the left is recalling an image or an event.
So it's each person is a little bit different. So some people, if you're left-handed, it might be different. People are often different in which side they look to recall. But once you've baselined somebody, and I've baselined him, when he looks to the left, it's typically recalling something. When he's looking to the right, it's creating a thought or trying to formulate a thought. So when he's asked a deep question about what he thinks, he might look to the right because he's trying to create a thought and he's trying to create a response to it. When you look up, it's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic is what you use. So visual, you're looking up and recalling a thought or creating it. Auditory, you're looking to the right or left, and then down is when it's kinesthetic or feeling-based, emotion-based. So if he's recalling an emotional situation, you may see him look down and to the left.
It's fascinating how much more like science there really is behind that, behind showing emotion, behind what is really telling of your emotion in a moment, especially as we watch this testimony. Now, this testimony is going to continue. We're keeping our eye on these cameras.